Hello to everyone who is watching us today for our live editor walkthrough of Riverside's brand new editor. And I am very excited about the session because I have Judah from our product team who helped build this editor here with me today to answer all of your questions, walk through the full editor, and show you everything that you can really do now with all of the capabilities, features, tools, everything that we've packed into there. And we're going to be going through a bunch of different things that we've included in the new editor. First, we're going to walk you through navigation. We're going to be walking you through the timeline, all of the changes there, all of the new things that you can be doing there. We're going to be showing you co-creator, the new designs, the new layouts, all of the new changes that we've made. That's going to make it a lot easier for you to edit and make really professional, incredible content. So, off the top, before we talk about all of those things, I really just want to first say that really the basis of this new editor is that we've made it faster than ever so that you can get your work done professionally, but so that it could be faster and easier to create that work. So you should already be feeling it when you're editing, but if you've maybe tried it 2 weeks ago and want to try it again now, you'll see that there's already been a ton of improvements made. So when you're scrubbing, when you're highlighting, when you're clipping, that should all be working a lot faster for you because we've rebuilt the foundation of the editor. So that's just something that, we usually don't really give that much of a shout out to when we're talking about new features and new tools. But it's one of the most, if not the most important thing when it comes to your editing, that the editor is able to respond much faster to whatever you're trying to create. So that was a lot to lead into, and I forgot to even introduce myself. So I'm Kendall. I'm the head of community at Riverside, and I already introduced Judah, so I'll do it again. But we have Judah here from our product team, our editor product team. So hey, Judah, thanks for joining.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me here. And like Kendall said, I'm super excited to show you guys the new editor and walk you through it.
Yeah, so I know that we have a lot to get to. Feel free to ask your questions in the chat. We have some people from our team monitoring it. Shout out to Galia. And we'll also be getting to some live Q&A if we have the time to at the end, because we have a lot to get through. So I don't want to take any time from the demo. So Judah, I'm gonna pass it off to you, and let's just start with like kind of 30,000 feet, looking at the full editor screen, and do a little bit of a tour of what people are going to see now.
Awesome. All right. So like Kendall said, has been a huge project for us, a total rewrite from the ground up, speed as like our biggest focus, along with tons of new features that we're going to show you today. I'd love to show you kind of a quick walkthrough of the overall layout of the editor to get started. So the first thing you'll probably notice is here on the left side panel, we have what we call the nav panel. You no longer have to go back and forth between the project page and your edit. You can access everything from the editor itself. So we have our source files here, so I can expand that and see all my recorded tracks. I can download the tracks, of course, from there as well. We have our edits, so all the different edits that I've created manually. I can go ahead and collapse that. Of course, we have our magic clips. I can browse them one by one, like this, or I can click on the file itself, and then I can see all the magic clips the way you would in the project page. So I can see my scores and the titles, duration, all that. And go ahead and collapse that. And of course, we still have magic segments, hooks. We have all of our exports, of course. So whenever you export now, you can also find them here, and you can preview them. And you have your assets and snapshots as well. So things like your blog posts, your Instagram captions, your show notes, things like that. So all of that is now accessible without ever leaving the editor. So let's go ahead and click back into our edit. And of course, when you're editing, you probably want to customize your workspace a little bit. So you can just go ahead and close it. So it gets out of the way. Of course, we have our transcript, which we will walk through in a minute. We have our export up here, our tools, and the brand new timeline. So that's a really quick kind of just putting it all out there of the new navigation panel.
Yeah, I really love that you can really customize all of that. Like, I like to sometimes just make the timeline bigger because I'm focusing the timeline. My first pass is always with the transcript. So yeah, I really like that you can customize that. And speaking of timeline, I think let's start at the timeline and talk about all of the changes there.
Awesome. Yeah, let's do it. So we have here is where you'll find your comments, your co-creator comments as well. By the way, we've also done some work there. We won't go through the whole comments panel now, but you can if you want. Again, it's all about kind of removing that distraction if you want to get it out of the way while you're doing some of your editing, so you can go ahead and turn those off. Here we have our ruler, so a highly requested feature. You now have a ruler as you zoom. As you can see, you can keep going, and we break it down all the way to the frame level here, so you can see the individual frames. Let's zoom back out. So we have the ruler here at the top. We have our chapters here, just like before, so you can trim them, you can edit them, rename them, all that jazz. Of course, I can do that from here as well, creating a scene, splits, things like that. What you may have noticed that's new is the scene timeline, as we call it. So scenes have now been separated out from the tracks themselves. This just gives them more prominence in the timeline while you're editing. You can still adjust them like you would before. And you'll also find here I can insert, and I can also add a transition. So this is where you'll find transitions. They previously were between sections, but they have been moved to now be between the scenes. I can go ahead and change the duration there. Click it, and you'll see if a transition is active, you get this little purple line, and of course when you hover, you'll see it there. After that, we have our overlays. So I have different, what we call swim lanes. So I can have, I can add another overlay here if I'd like. Let's go ahead and just add one here. So there you go, you have your swim lanes. I can of course drag them. I can create new swim lanes as I drag them. So you can organize your edits however you'd like. And then of course we have the tracks down at the bottom where I can see my waveform and the audio. You can see here we have some crosstalk, and that is a quick overview there of the timeline. Let's hold on one second here. Cool. Of course, you can still expand the tracks. And again, like Kendall mentioned, I can always expand the workspace of the timeline itself to see more of the timeline, or less if I'd like, just like that. And I can collapse them. And of course, we have our zooming controls, and I can just collapse the whole thing if I'd like to just watch the video itself. Again, resize the transcript, get it out of the way. So that is a very quick overview of the timeline here.
Yeah, I want to really jump into some of the things that you can do on the timeline while we're here. So if you don't mind, I want to talk about kind of cuts, especially when you're making them collapsed versus when they're expanded. And then I also want to talk about the other things you could do, like moving them around freely, copying and pasting. So if you want to give a quick demo of that, I think a lot of people in the chat here would get a lot out of that.
Awesome. All right, so let's kind of walk through the different actions you can do in the all-new timeline. So first, let's start with splitting. So you'll notice now you can actually split anything on the timeline. So if I don't have anything selected here in the timeline, and I just use the S key or I click split, you'll see it created a new scene, it split the text overlay as well, and it also created two new, what we call clips in the timeline. So let's go ahead and undo that. So now splits are like a global action if nothing is selected. I can also create a new scene by selecting the scene itself and clicking split, so that'll create a scene. If I want to split a text overlay, I can do that. And of course, if I want to split a clip, I can select the clip and split it. Next, of course, everyone's favorite is creating cuts. So let's go ahead. I can, of course, do that from the transcript. I can do it here from the timeline, and you'll see it updates live as I go. Another huge improvement you may have noticed is snapping. So now everything snaps to everything in the timeline, right? So as I drag my cut, you'll see that it snaps. Let's go ahead and let's create a split here in the scene for a second. Cool. So now when I drag my overlay, right, a lot of times you'll want the text to appear and then you'll want it to stop at the scene. And in the old editor, this was very challenging to do, and now it just snaps. So it's much, much easier to work with. And again, let's say I want this text overlay here to continue up until that point. It snaps to the scene, or maybe I want it to stop a little bit before. So again, these overlays can snap to each other. So everything snaps to everything. It's much easier to get the composition that you want and for things to appear and disappear when you want them to. So now let's dive into cuts for a second. Let's find a section here that we want. So let's say I want to create a cut here. So of course I can just use the delete key or like that. And as you'll see, just like in the old editor, you have this kind of crossed out text. I can select it to restore it. And you'll notice that the cut itself is now what we call collapsed. This is to clean up the timeline, make it a lot easier to work with. We got a lot of feedback about in Magic clips where most of the clip is removed. It was very hard to work with, so we collapsed them by default. If you want to refine the cut, right, you want to kind of like adjust it a little bit, you can either grab one of these little handles here, and that'll help you adjust the cut, and you can look at the transcript here updating live to see where it is. Or if you'd like, and you prefer to see what you're actually kind of, let's say, restoring, you can open up the cut itself, right? This is more similar to the older experience, and then you can go ahead and adjust it that way. Let's say we only want to remove this part where we're talking over each other, and click done, and that's it. And by the way, you may have noticed all the zooming in and out here is really, really fast. We have not had a moment here of hesitation. It's super quick. The timeline is very responsive. So we're really, really excited and very proud of it. So that is a quick look at the cuts and snapping and the scene timeline. Additionally, for those who like to mute, of course, that hasn't gone anywhere. If I want to make a selection here, I can mute from the actions up here, and then it'll ask me who I want to mute, or I can mute the whole section. And of course, if I'd like, I can separate the tracks here, and let's go ahead and mute Ronnie here. He's more of the crosstalker in this scenario. So I just click M, and there it is, muted. And of course, just like before, you can always go in and adjust it and collapse. So that is muting.
As you're showing everything, it's like in my head, I'm like, oh, but we also have to show them this, and we also have to show them this. So one thing that I want to talk about now that we're on muting is, can you show really quick how to, very requested feature, adjust track volume by, like it used to be that if you want to adjust the track volume, you adjust it for the entire track. But I just want to highlight really quick that improvement, because now if somebody, like for example, a couple weeks ago, I had a webinar and my microphone was very low in the beginning, and there was no way to really change the volume of just the beginning. So I want to show off how you could do that now.
For sure. So yeah, so you'll see here, I just created a split on Ronnie's track. So you'll note, right, when the tracks are expanded now, it's what we call a freeform timeline, meaning I can actually just create splits on just Ronnie's track. So if I collapse that, you won't see the split here because it's not applied to all of the tracks. And from there, I can then click on this little 3-dot menu, and you'll see I can then adjust his volume. I can make it louder. I can make it quieter. I can even add a fade effect if I'd like. You'll see the fade working, and you see the waveform is updating to show me that the fade is being applied. And yeah, there you go. So if I just want to really bump up the volume on this clip, you'll see that the other clips are not affected by this. So
and having the waveform, like reflected of it was so helpful when you're trying to get that part of your track to match the volume of the rest of it. That's just been really, really key for me when I've been editing. We do have a question also while we're on timeline that I just wanted to point out here. So how do you move a different part of the same recording with audio and video? So maybe we could talk about how to do it with scene, or how we could do it with copying and pasting, because there are now 2 ways to really do that.
Sure. So yeah, if you want to move a clip, let's say you have a really great hook that you want to kind of put at the beginning of the clip. So it's really easy to do. I can just make a selection. Let's just say this is something really interesting that Ronnie said. And I'm just going to use keyboard shortcuts here, so you can't quite see it, but I'm doing Command C, and then I can move my playhead here to the beginning of the timeline. And let's paste it. And there you go. We have our clip here at the beginning. And you'll see it also creates a new scene, so you don't lose your layout or anything like that when you're copying and pasting clips. Additionally, like I mentioned before, because it's freeform, I don't need to take both Ronnie and Kendall here. I can actually just say, maybe this is a moment that Ronnie was laughing and I want to put it somewhere else. I can actually just go ahead and paste it here. So you'll see what's actually happening here is I'm overwriting this pause that Ronnie had, and I'm just pasting that as a clip into his timeline. So if you have a laugh, maybe they didn't laugh and you want them to laugh at a certain moment, so you can just copy and paste that right in. And then, like I mentioned, you can just collapse it and it's done. Additionally, if you'd like another way to kind of rearrange the timeline and move things around, you can actually just take an entire scene with you. So you'll see here, it like captures the whole clip, and I can just go ahead and move that around and plop it over here. So there's lots of freedom and lots of different ways to move things around, kind of orchestrate your edit as you see fit. A lot fewer limitations and walls that you'll hit in the new timeline.
And speaking of limitations and walls that you won't be hitting, I also, while we're still on the timeline, I also want to talk about like the different overlay options. And I want to start off maybe with music, because I think that there are a lot of really cool things you could be doing with music now, especially when you split up the track.
Cool, yeah, so let's do it. So we have an all new music library. We still have our ready-made collection from before. But a highly requested feature, you can now search the music library, which is really, really handy and really great when you don't know precisely what it is that you're looking for. We also recently added favorites. So once you find a track that you love, you can just go ahead and favorite it. And there you go. And now it'll sit in your favorites. So you open and close it. It'll just be right there at the top. And of course, you can always preview them. Click play, it'll preview. Cool, so it's playing. I'm not sure anyone else can hear it, but trust me, it's really great soundtrack.
You couldn't see me on screen, but I was dancing along. We could hear it.
Ah, there you go. So let's go ahead and add it to the timeline. So here we go. We have it in our timeline. And yeah, so again, snapping. Let's say I want it to end right here. So just like before, I can control the volume. You may have noticed you can now fade. It used to be limited to like 5 seconds. Now you can just go crazy, go wild, however long you want it to fade in, however long you want it to fade out. The choice is yours. And like I mentioned, you can split wherever you want for a music track. So this happens a lot of the time. You'll want the music to kind of fade in. Maybe it fades out. Everyone's talking. And then you actually want it to kind of like resume. So the way you do that, right? So we can just add a fade out here. And then we can have it fade back in over here. And you'll notice, by the way, these are adjusting just because the music track is a bit short. So as I adjust them, you'll see that it automatically will adjust the fades according to the duration of the track. And there you go. And so now what you should have is a nice fade in, then it fades out. Here I can move this, allow us to kind of talk for a little bit over here, and then fade the track back in, and then fade out again. And right, what the key point here is that when you split the music, it actually is going to resume from where you left off, as opposed to just kind of restarting from the beginning of the track all over again. So yeah, that's all these new updates in music overlays.
Awesome. I want to make sure that we're getting to everything, and we could just spend an entire hour on the timeline. I want to move over to if we want to make a scene together. I think that's the last thing that we should do on the timeline, and then I think we can move over to the canvas and layouts and designs.
Sorry, go again. What do you mean by?
Well, we can create a scene and really show how you could save a scene so that you could use it later. So we'll put a few.
Oh yeah, okay, great.
Yeah, let's do that.
Cool. So yeah, let's do it. Let's actually jump right into the canvas then. So as you'll know, we have our wonderful canvas here. We've done some cleanup as well. So design now includes both background controls, spacing, and corner radius. You'll also find that the spacing controls are now, you'll sense a theme here, open in that you can set the spacing to whatever it is that you like. You can also control the corner radius as well. It's no longer limited. And of course you have your background like you always had. So here we go. We have our canvas here where we can freely arrange the layout however we like. And just like on the timeline, you'll see there is snapping. So for centering, snapping to other elements, so I can make them the same size. So just like in the timeline, everything snaps together. But this is, of course, more than just that. What else you can do here is once I have, let's say, this wonderful and beautiful composition, I can then go to my scenes and click on Save Scenes. By the way, something very cool here now is we have our pre-made templates, but they actually now render the thumbnail of exactly what it is you're looking at, which is very cool. Before it would just show you like a stock thumbnail. And so we go to my Save Scenes here. So we have a bunch of scenes that we've saved, and we can save this one as well to reuse it. So now if I go to another scene where there's the two of us here, so let's click here, and we can just go ahead and apply that scene, and you'll see everything gets applied. And there's our text overlay as well from the previous scene that we saved. Yeah, so aside from just the global controls you have under design, you also have per tile, you can adjust the corner radius. You can even apply shadows. This is a black background, so let's go ahead and change it so we can see it. Cool. So we actually just pushed this out. So you now have shadows that you can control. You control their opacity, blur, distance, angle, and even color. So shadows is brand new. Let's go ahead and turn that off. And again, just like everything else, you save it to your scene and it carries over and gets applied. Additionally, of course, let's say you have this freeform layout, you want to go back to a more classic layout. All you have to do is go back to the layouts panel, click on a familiar layout, and you're back to where you left off. And just like before, you can of course hide someone, and we do all the thinking for you. We know who to make full screen here. So again, it's all of this free form and super powerful, but we also remember to keep it really simple and easy to use and kind of do the thinking for you. So that is saving scenes. Of course, some of you may know you used to be able to swap the tiles really easily, but now dragging is for freeform kind of layouts. However, if you'd like, you can always just grab the middle dot here. Let's go back to a more classic look. You just grab this little handle and you'll see it highlights the other tiles, and I let go, and there it is. So that is how you drag and swap, as we like to call it. And of course, just like before, you have your scenes and similar scenes. So if we zoom out on the timeline, I can still see all my similar scenes get highlighted. So I know where the change is going to be applied. And I do the swap, and they will all get swapped. And by the way, you can apply scenes to similar scenes just as before. It's much faster now, and same goes for layout. So all of these tools can be applied across scenes.
Yeah, I was going to say, could you actually give, and this is from the old editor, but I do think it's a good time to explain this scene versus similar scenes versus all scenes.
Sure. So all scenes is pretty easy, right? That one's just all the scenes. Let's go ahead and click so I can see it. Then we have this scene, which is this exact scene. So you just want to make the change on one scene. And then similar scenes, loosely defined, is kind of all the scenes that are similar to this one. So the simplest way to put it is usually it's the same people, the same participants, or the same tracks in the same scene, in the same layout, in the same position, more or less. There's a lot of hidden logic behind all of that, but the idea is that they are similar enough, and if they are, then the change will be applied to all of them.
And I also want to take a moment just because of how I'm seeing kind of the conversation go in the chat. Can you talk about snapping one more time, just for people that are confused by what that really means as far as the timeline?
Of course. In the timeline or the canvas or both?
Let's talk about both.
Sure. So snapping on the canvas, right? That just means it's easier to create like a composition. So let's go ahead and remove some text. Funny, I removed text, but I'm going to add some text again. There we go. So we have this like speaker title. It's a bit small. Let's make it bigger. Again, on the theme of freedom, you can now choose any font size you like. I don't know how many of you remember previously, but you couldn't do that before. So let's add the text here. Cool. Let's also align this one. Great. So now when I align them, you see now I have these like little, let's close this so we have more space. Cool. There we go. So when I'm dragging, you see now these lines kind of like snap, and that just makes it a lot easier to set up, excuse me, to align the text to where I want them to be on the canvas. So it's just a nice way to kind of work. And at the same time, let's say I want Ronnie to be up here. I can even align him to the text as well, and Kendall. So I can also make sure we're the same size. So it just allows me to create a lot of like different compositions and know that they're all lined up and they're going to look really good. Also, I'm pretty proud of this one, so I'm going to go ahead and save it. Yeah, so that's kind of the snapping on the canvas. And if we go here to the timeline, it's very much a similar concept. A lot of times you'll want text to appear maybe at the beginning of a scene. like that. And so before, we just wouldn't snap it to anything. So now it's just a lot easier to make sure that you get all your timing exactly right, so that when you want text to appear or disappear, they happen in sync with each other rather than one kind of like slightly disappears after the other one. So it's just for a more consistent design.
And then I want to move on over to, let's go to the transcript, and then we're going to go into some of the AI tools. For example, we have motion graphics that's new, and a few of the other AI tools that can make it faster for editing. But for now, as we continue on this tour, we've done the timeline, we did the canvas. Now let's move on over to the transcript. And I want to
Awesome.
start with one of my favorite new features, which is hide in captions. But you can first give I'm getting ahead of myself. You can first give a kind of general overview of the transcript.
Sure. So the biggest improvement you'll see in the transcript is actually something you can't see at all. We've enabled a lot of keyboard shortcuts. So for those who love keyboard shortcuts, this will be pretty familiar to you. But actually, if you edit in a Word doc, you're probably pretty familiar with keyboard shortcuts, right? So I can now navigate the transcript just by my arrow keys here, which you can't see I'm clicking, but I am. And if I hold Shift, I can actually make a selection. So again, if you've ever edited in a Word doc, that should be pretty familiar. And I can also do like Command up down, so that goes to me from the beginning to the top. I can do select by word, select lines by Command Shift arrow key. So like just a lot of different ways to edit very, very quickly. So I can go ahead and say make this selection here, and let's say up until here, and then just hit delete, right? So I can do all that without ever lifting my fingers, which is very cool. And of course, we still have this double click for selection on a single word, and I can just begin correcting, or I can drag and click to make a selection on a larger selection. And of course, we have one of our favorites here, which is create new clip. So that is still here as well. And just so you know, when you create new clip, like I mentioned in the nav panel, you no longer get taken to that other clip or open a new tab. We just create it for you in the background. You'll see this little notification here. I click it, and you will find your new clip. So let's go ahead and dismiss that. Yeah, let's go ahead. So we have our captions already here. And let's say we want to, I don't know, hide this sentence for whatever reason. So you'll see a new option here for hide in captions. So let's do that again. Click it. So of course we have show in captions. So I make a selection, and you'll see the sentence is already here. Let's actually select the whole thing. And I just click hide from captions, and it's gone. And you'll note that we strike through the words for whatever's hidden from your captions, right? Cuts are dimmed and strike through, and hide from captions are just strike through, because these are still part of the audio. They're still part of the video. If you play them, you will hear it. It's just something that you don't want necessarily to show up in the transcript. So that's really great for things like filler words that maybe are a little hard to cut out. So instead of cutting them out, you just hide them from the captions themselves. So there you go. That is hide in captions. Additionally,
Can you also,
yeah,
I'm just going to quickly, while we have it in the chat, can you talk about where you'll now find the create new clips? When you highlight and create that new clip? Yeah, just you open it in the navigation, and you'll see the purple dot right over here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's our new clip.
And as far as the transcript, I think that the other improvement here would just be video dub. If you wanna talk about that.
Sure. So video dub, a lot of under the hood improvements, and we have a lot more coming very soon. But just for now, we support a ton more languages than previously. Before, we actually only supported English, so we support a lot more languages. And the model underneath is just a lot higher quality. So you'll notice the lip sync looks a lot better and a lot smoother, and the audio quality is just going to sound a lot more like you, and just a much higher quality output. So that's video dub, and we have a lot of exciting stuff coming very soon.
And for anyone who doesn't know, just to pack it up, what video dub is, it's basically that right now, if you misspoke and you want to correct a word, you can highlight in your transcript, correct that one word, and more coming on that soon, and it will look and sound like that's what you said in the first place. So it corrects the audio and the video. And while I'm talking about audio and video, we did get a question in the chat. If you take it out of the transcript, does it come out of the audio and video? And the answer to that is yes, it will edit that out of the audio and video. But of course, you can also highlight it and hide it in the captions if maybe you just don't want that word shown. All right, so I think from here we can go over to navigation, show a few of the things that we added over there, and then go over to the AI tools because we have some requests for a kind of overview of what the AI tools can do.
Sure. Navigation, you mean the panel, or
Yeah.
what do you mean?
Yeah, the navigation panel. So, for example, I want to talk about version history because that's something that I know the community was super excited about when we added that.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Okay, so let's do version history. So you'll notice up here we had this cloud. It always kind of told you the status of your saving, whether or not you was saved or offline, things like that. So we've expanded what this is capable of. So if you hover on it, you'll see there's now the last saved, as well as a view version history. You can also just click the icon itself, or you click view version history. It's all the same. And you'll see we open up this panel here on the side, and you'll see there's the current edit. And the rest, you'll see there's 99 versions. So these are all the various edits you've seen me do over the last 30 minutes or so. Every 15 minutes or so, we kind of group these or bundle them together into like a group, so you don't have to go through every tiny little edit that you've made. So if I click it, it'll just kind of upload or show you that grouped version. But if I'm looking for a very particular edit that I made or a mistake that I made, then I can go into the list here. And of course, it just shows me the history of all these different edits, and it will show you who edited it for those who have an editor on their account. So I can click restore, and you'll see here the edit is different. And let's find, like, where did we add Kendall back? So you see, kind of just keep going through all the different versions. By the way, you can see the whole timeline here. So you're not limited at all. You can scroll through the timeline and see what was done. Of course, you can't edit it. This is just a view only. But once you're ready, you can click restore. And there you go. We are back to our previous version. So that is how you view different versions and restore them. So if you made some kind of mistake, you can always go back.
Awesome. And I that one, it's just like these little things that you can find now in the editor that just completely have changed the game for me. Speaking of that, I also want to talk about the personalized panel because I know that there are a lot of people in the community that were talking about wanting to personalize what's created for them as far as magic clips, segments, all of that. And so this has been our answer to that request. So let's talk about that.
For sure. Okay, so you'll find here in the navigation panel, we have these new personalize and brand options. So let's go ahead and click personalize. And under personalize, you'll see we have like the default settings, but what you can do, there's a few things you can do here. So let's go through them. You have the magic episode, the magic clips, hooks, show notes, and blog post. And here you'll see a toggle on each one. This means, do it. Here you go. There's the tooltip. Generate automatically after each recording, or only generate when you choose, right? When you click generate magic episode. So if I toggle that, it just means magic episodes will no longer be generated after I record automatically. So you can do the same thing for magic clips. But what's really cool is if I open up the menu here, I can, just like before, go in and adjust my aspect ratio. What layouts do I want it to use by default? Do I want it to use my brand by default? Do I want to remove pauses by default? And how aggressively do you want us to remove your pauses? Same goes for filler words, smart mute, magic audio, and adding a hook to the beginning of your magic episode automatically. And you can kind of go into each one and edit it. And of course, you can always turn on some of our other default workflows or built-in workflows, such as magic segments. So I can turn that on. I can have my episode title, top insights, newsletter, email, Instagram caption, X thread, LinkedIn post, all that stuff. So if you wanted to automatically generate these things for you after you're recording, you just toggle these on. And just like mentioned before, you can go in, you can give it a bit of a prompt so it gets to your kind of what you want it to be. And that's it. So you set it like that and you close it. And as I mentioned before, you can find all those assets under the assets folder in the navigation panel.
And hold on, we have a very special guest that's joining us. Oh, there he is, our CEO, Nadav. Are you with us? You're
I think I
in.
have two tabs open. One sec. One sec.
Well, everyone in the chat, let us know if you have any questions for Nadav. But
Okay,
I think this would be a
awesome.
place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm super pumped. So I wanted to just for a second jump in and answer any questions if there are. I think what's important, I was following the chat a bit. What's really important to mention is like we try to make this editor extremely powerful, but also very simple to use. Meaning, if you don't want to deal with any timeline, you can also just use the transcript and also use the agent on the right. So there's really important to mention that you can do almost anything from the transcript and Canvas without even ever opening the whole timeline. That said, if you do want more power, we try to make the timeline very flexible. So that's kind of what's like the main goal behind this new editor. That plus performance. So I hope you guys will really give it a shot, especially over the last days. We've really been perfecting it more and more with better, higher quality audio waveforms, even better performance, and we are constantly improving it. So I'm very excited by what we've built. And yeah, please give it a shot. Let me know if you have any questions. But meanwhile, super happy to have you guys here. I see one very great question. Nadav looks rich. I'll take it. Uh, 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 let's see if there's any questions.
Meanwhile, we got Judah in a dark room in
Enemy?
the corner. Yeah, so we'll fire away with your questions.
I just want to really encourage y'all, please keep giving us your feedback. We're very open to feedback, but we really believe to really build a world-class editor here. So give it a shot. Let us know what you think. It's extremely, once it's open, it's extremely fast, super snappy. So yeah, there's a lot of power under the hood, but at the same time, keeping things very simple. So very happy for all the amazing feedback we're getting so far, and we'll continuously keep improving.
Oh, we do have one question for you, Nadav, before you go. It's
Sure.
what's next?
What's next? Well, actually today, this very 5 minutes before we jumped on this webinar, I think you already spoke about it. We launched motion graphics, which I'm also super excited about. I really encourage you all to give it a shot. Basically, you can really make your videos look super professional just by chatting to our agent. You can create these motion graphics on top of your video, and it's also there's a lot of control, and you can just chat. You just chat and say, hey, create me a title card, create me an intro card. So again, a lot of power under the hood while keeping things very simple by just using our agent. So I'm very excited about that, and there's a lot more coming there as well. Yeah. All
Actually,
right.
Judah, once we're done with this, let's do a tutorial of that.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
let's jump into it.
And shout out to Kendall and Judah.
All right, let's talk about motion graphics. It's actually, yeah, one of the Nadav mentions that we haven't even gone to that part, and then we'll
Yeah, we
talk
haven't
about
gotten there.
export. Yeah.
All right,
There's so
cool.
much.
Yeah, let's do motion graphics. So let's reset our layout here. It's a little crazy. Cool. All right, so you'll find this brand new motion tool, which Nadav just mentioned and just went live today. So you go ahead and click it, and you'll see all these really great pre-made templates across the board. And what you'll notice is these would take hours to make and usually a professional animator. However, now with the power of AI, you can not just click on a template, but you can actually customize that template to however it is you would like it to be. So we can go ahead and click on one of these templates. You'll see here, we give you this like little preview. So this is one of those CTAs to subscribe. Should be pretty familiar, I think, to all of us. I can go ahead and add it to the timeline like this, but of course that doesn't really make any sense because it doesn't have my name. So what I can go ahead and do is type in change the name to Judah Guttmann. That's my name. Use my brand colors. To be honest, I'm not sure I have my brand set up here, so let's see what happens. But at the same time, we can also say, or Riverside's purple. There you go,
You should
just
have
in
the brand
case.
set up there because
Oh, I do? All right, cool.
You're in my studio, I think.
All right.
And of course, I have
we
my
can leave
brand
it.
set up.
Of course. But I can go ahead and say, and when subscribe is clicked, add some confetti. So let's go ahead and, and give me 1 million subscribers in the subscriber count. Why not? Cool. So I'm going to go ahead and hit send, and then Code Creator is going to go ahead and take my prompt here and regenerate our animation. So of course, this can take a second or two. And while we wait, actually, I can go ahead and just quickly show you the new export panel here. So we've redone the export panel. It's a much more unified experience. We have share for review. We have our publishing tools down here at the bottom. And we also have download. So basically what download will allow you to do is, instead of you having to come back and we send you an email and then you come back to download it, as soon as the export is complete, we will download the export for you automatically. So it's a much faster, easier way to download your clips and your edits and all that. But of course, if you do just want to do the export flow like before, that is also available. And you'll also notice if you use any of our music tracks, there's now a music attribution, which you can open and see it. It's not that interesting, but you can copy it, make sure to include it in your YouTube descriptions, and that will also keep you from getting any kind of like copyright strikes on music tracks that you use from Riverside. Cool, so here we go. Our motion graphic is ready. Let's take a quick look at the preview. I'm not seeing my confetti, and I didn't change the picture here, but let's let that one slide for a second. I can also click save to favorites. So if I do like this result, I can click save to favorite, so I don't have to prompt it again for next time. This is now my new CTA that I want to use in all my videos. Or of course we can click add to timeline. So add to timeline also takes just a few seconds. This is just converting it from this like preview video to like the full video that you can use in your timeline. So that can take a couple seconds to load up. But just like most AI tools, you can prompt it to do almost anything that you want, right? I'm keeping it pretty simple, but you can do a whole lot more. So if we click here, you'll see there is my lovely CTA. It has my name. It says I have 1 million subscribers, so it followed those instructions pretty well. And also, by the way, I didn't change this photo, but you can change the photo. Just to save time, I didn't include it. And you can always iterate on it later. You can click on it, click ask, and what needs changing. So you can again just say, change, I don't know, or add confetti, right? We can just kind of keep prompting it till it does it. So you can just keep iterating on it here if you'd like. And it's a video overlay at the end of the day. So I can resize it again. There's all my snapping tools. I can place it here, and let's go ahead and play it.
Every time I say that I'm super excited, but this time
I know the captions here are in the way. That's all right. Cool.
every time I say that I'm
yeah, you can add animations. You can add a drop shadow to it. All of that works. And of course, you can go ahead and save it to your scene. So you can just easily reuse it either from the favorites. Oh, we didn't favorite it. Let's do that. Click favorite. There we go. So when I go to my panel now, it's up here at the top in my favorites. I can click here to ask Code Creator to iterate on it. I can delete it, and I can save it to my scenes to reuse it there as well. So yeah, that is our all new motions tool, and we're really, really excited about it. That's of course just one use case. There's tons more of really cool, very advanced animations like this cool paper animation. We have graphs, animated graphs, statistics that you can blast out, or data, some waveforms. We have name tags, of course, is a really popular use case. So like some really cool looking name animations, typewriter for typing the names, blur. There's too many. I can't even go through them all. So we're really, really excited about this feature. And we think it's going to enable a lot of very cool creations that were not possible before.
awesome. The rest of this webinar will just be us naming things that you can do with motion graphics. So I think that we have gone through most of the new parts of the editor. I mean, there are a ton of different features that we've added, but I think that was a great overview of everything. Judah, do you feel like there's anything that you haven't shown that you really want to get to, or should we just start diving into some questions?
Yeah, I think there's like one more.
I'm super excited for this.
Let's add some captions here. Hold on.
We'll go off of this part because I talk about how I'm so excited for this one more than any other, and now this one's the most exciting, Judah, I promise.
We can add some text overlays. Here we go. Cool. All right. So another fun feature that we've added, or like a small little refinement that we've added, if you go into the color tool, I didn't pick a style with a background, so that's not helpful. Here we go, with a shadow. You can actually now control the shadow color. So previously that was not something you could do, and you can also do this in captions. In captions, you control the highlight color, the background, or the shadow color independently, and of course the text shadow. This is not my best creative work, but it's super cool. Previously, you did not have that level of control, so we're pretty excited about that, and we're bringing it across the board. So yeah, I think that's probably one of my favorite like little features that we've added, but there's probably some more I haven't even thought of.
Writing up the list of all the I feel like when I was writing out the list of all the things that we need to cover today, it was like, oh, but there's also this and there's also this. So
Yeah.
there are a ton of different features, and there were questions about really how we're covering all of them. So for anyone who signed up for this webinar, you will be getting an email with the video, and it'll also be on our YouTube channel. So you can always refer back to this. I'm also going to send some in the chat. I'll send it over now, but we have a playlist of some cool things that you can also do in the editor, some of our favorite things to do that we've kind of curated there, and we're going to keep adding to it. But I want to jump into a few questions, and I'm going to start with one that I've seen in our community and seen in this chat. Let's talk about the difference between maybe I want to add an ad break in the middle as a standalone video versus an overlay video. Same thing for maybe I want to add music in the beginning versus overlaid on my track. Can you show the difference in how you would really do that?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, you go over here, you click the plus button. You can also do it, by the way, between sections. It doesn't matter. And you can go ahead and you can add, just like before, we have empty sections, new scene, and all that. But let's just go ahead and click your media. And let's just say we want to add this edit from before that we created, right? So it's another workflow. You can create a new edit that you want to use later. Go ahead and click it. And there you go. Now my edit is here in the timeline. So of course I can do that for, let's go ahead and go back. We can also do it for stock. So I can go and, I don't know, add this really cool motorcycle. Give it a second to download the image. There you go. And you'll see our new media section here. So that's how you can add something directly into the timeline itself and not as an overlay. So anytime you click on a plus button, here you go. So also between sections, you can also add music this way. Same idea. So that is how you can add media sections to the timeline.
And so basically, if you press the plus button kind of in between those splits, it'll add it as its own standalone. But if you drag your playhead in the timeline and then go onto the side panel and choose video or whatever from there, it'll add it as an overlay. Is that right?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
And by the way, we also have drag and drop on the canvas. So let's, I can also go ahead and show you that. So I drag an image. We actually improved it over the previous editor. So now you can add it as an overlay or insert it to the timeline. If you insert it to the timeline here, it's going to insert it to the closest split in the timeline. So the closest like available placement. And of course, an overlay will add it as an overlay. So you can do that for just about anything that supports either state. So you see here, we can also do that for music. And if you go to your media and it's something like an edit, then you'll only have insert to timeline. Currently, we only support edits as inserts.
And so for that, that was also a question that we got in the chat. So let's say that you want to take two different edits and kind of paste them together for your full episode. That is how you would do that. You could just press the plus, go over to your media, and you can go through project and find the different edit that you want to put into there.
Yeah, exactly, right. You can go at the end here, click on your media and add it to the edit. And if you have two separate tracks that were not recorded together, that's when the freeform timeline can be really powerful because you can add the two tracks. You know, I can just kind of show it really quickly. Oh, that's going to ruin our lovely recording here. Cool. So let's say I have, oh, okay, it's fine. If I collapse the tracks, it'll make more sense. There you go. Cool. Just because we have a bunch of screen shares here, so it gets really tall. But I can freely just, well, Ronnie's not saying anything here, but I can move Kendall's track and move it into the rest of the recording here. So you see now it's overlapping with the other tracks down here. And that's how you can kind of put two different tracks together that weren't necessarily in the same edit. And then they're overlapping. Or sorry, the same recording.
Another question that we got, can you go over brand features, specifically how we change an intro video that's automatically kind of put in via the brand kit? So I don't think that we've gone over the brand kit, but I think it'd be
Mm-hmm.
a cool thing to show off now.
Yeah, for sure. So we also have a brand new like brand center. So you can click it, you can click edit from up here, or you may have noticed also from personalize or brand has its own entry point. So you click on brand and just scroll down to the bottom and you'll see here we have brand media, which is like a bucket of different kinds of media you want really quick access to from the brand panel. But you can, of course, just add your intro here like before and your outro for different aspect ratios, and those will get applied as part of your brand for Magic Episode, Magic Clips, things like that, right? So Magic Clips is 9:16, Magic Episode is 16:9. So that is
And so we
how,
had
and yeah, go for it.
No. I was just going to say, we had a question also that we can kind of fold into this, which is if I want to create a standalone scene, save it, and I want to use that as my regular intro, and then insert it in the timeline at the beginning of each podcast recording. So for this example, I mean, you can edit the video that you'd like to have as your intro, and then through your brand kit, just every time, like have that be your intro, and every time that you apply brand when you have your recording, your edit, it'll apply that intro right at the front of it. Okay, what else do we got? We got a lot of questions. This is a lot to sift through. I'm excited because it shows that you're all excited about what we have, well, what you've built, Judah. I won't take credit from you here. So thank you for showing how to add 2 clips, but do we still need to export and then import to get the additional clip into the first? No, you can add it right from the timeline. So Judah, if you just want to show that again.
Oh, for sure. Let's click in here. Yeah, so just repeat the question so I make sure I'm answering it correctly.
So basically what people were asking is that originally they would have to export a clip. Well, or they wouldn't have to, but this is the flow that they would do. They would take a clip and export it, and then they would take that import and kind of upload it into their timeline so that they'd get the 2 clips together. So can you show an easier workflow of basically how to put 2 clips together?
Yeah. So you just click on the plus button, your media, and you'll see here you have your edits. So if my edit's not there, I can go further. I can go across any project in the studio. And I can also filter by edits, recordings, magic clips, things like that. And then I just click on the one that I want. And there you go. It's in the timeline.
Awesome. Okay. And so I think that those were all of the things that we wanted to show today. If there's anything else that anyone wanted to see today, shout it out in the chat. And I would love to try to get that before we end this session. But as we're kind of ending the session, I do want to shout out 2 different things. One of those things is our playlist that I showed before, our YouTube playlist. I'll also be sending this in the email when we send out the recording of this. So hold on, I'll just put that in the chat. So that is our YouTube playlist of different things that you can now do with the Riverside editor, a few of our favorite curated hacks. And then another thing that I just wanted to highlight really quick is that if you have any more questions or just want to take advantage of a community of really incredible, supportive creators, we have almost 30,000 creators in our official community. And so I am going to add this right to the chat now, but we're on Facebook, Conversation Creators by Riverside, and I would love to see you there. We're there every day. Our team is always there. We're always hearing feedback. People are leaving the feedback in the community, and so that's just our place to really not only have you connect with the team, but also connect with each other so you can build better and create really professional content together, get motivated, get inspired. So we're almost at 30,000. So my challenge to all of you is to help me get there, because that would be very exciting. Also, with that, I do just want to say that as you're going through the editor and you have any feedback, our team, this whole editor, was really built on the feedback of this community because we want to be building the best product for all of you. So you'll see in your editor that you do have a feedback button at the top, and that is something that our team is monitoring. So if you have anything that you want to let us know about your experience, we are all ears and we really love to hear it. So feel free to leave that in the give feedback button. And with that, oh, I see people joining. I'm very excited. With that, you will all be getting the recording of this, but I do want to say thank you so much for giving us your time to show you our new editor. We're really excited about it. We know that it's going to help you edit faster, create some really professional looking content, and we really cannot wait to see what you create. So tag us in your creations, join the community, shout us out because we really do monitor all of it and we love to see what you're all creating. Until then, thank you so much. And see you next time. Happy editing. Bye, everyone.